Am I the a-hole for taking my friend to court after she kicked me out of the bridal party for cutting my hair? For my friend's 3-day wedding, I had to buy 3 different dresses, including alterations and specific shoes, which totally over $700. She also wanted specific hairstyles for each day. Unfortunately, starting in March, my hair started to deteriorate. Due to health reasons, my hair was falling out and chunked, and in May, I made a difficult decision to cut my hair. I told the bride about my decision 2 weeks before the wedding, and she didn't say anything back. The following week, she came over to my house, and when I was about to leave, she brought up that she was concerned about my haircut, and I told her it looked good even though I wouldn't be uniform with the other bridesmaids. The following day, I received this message. After our recent conversations, I'd like to remind you of my boundaries. I've been very accommodating and graceful, but I can't allow you to disrespect me. As you know, my wedding has been something I dreamt of for many years. Husband and I have invested a lot of money into the video and photos of this day, and as we reflect on this day in our future, we want to see our vision reflected in the memories. Since I asked each of you to be bridesmaid in 2019, I've been very clear and very communicative in my request. The timing of your decision to cut your hair and not income in advance is very upsetting to me. I would have felt disrespected if you have communicated with me more than a week prior to the wedding, so we could have worked together to find a collaborative solution. Your inconsistencies have concerned me, and while I sympathize with your health concerns, I'm not willing to compromise my vision to accommodate you or anyone else. When you have informed me in advance, and we could have found a better solution. Since this is something you can no longer fully commit to, I need you to please step down from participating in my wedding. This was 3 days before the wedding. I immediately sent her and her husband the invoice asking them to reimburse for the dresses and shoes, keeping in mind that one of the dresses is still in her possession even though I paid for it. Neither of them replied, so I decided to take it to court. I was told I was inconsistent and selfish as after I spent past 2 weeks in helping her plan the wedding shower. I worked with another bridesmaid to surprise her with a bridal shower after our bachelorette trip had to be cancelled. I spent hours helping her out of her wedding details. When she asked me to help her tone out before the wedding, I sent her a personalized workout program and even went with her to the gym to show her the ropes. When I agreed to be the bridesmaid, I was more than willing to oblige with what she asked, even if at times it was a lot of time and money. So am I the a-hole for taking her to court because she kicked me out for cutting my hair?
Tash cares so little about you as a friend that she basically said your health issues are selfish. I don't want you in my wedding. Weddings are supposed to be a joyful event, not a miserable day where everyone has to look like clones. For example, my sister chose a color for the bridesmaids' dresses and let us all choose the style as long as it was the same color, and for hair we all were free to do our own style. For example, I have a shaved head because of scalp issues, and my sister was so sweet about it and let me do my own thing, even though the other bridesmaids had long hair. Weddings are to celebrate the joining of a couple and all the people in their life as they are. If someone wants you to be a completely different person just for their wedding, then they truly don't care about you as a person. Right, WTF. One of my bridesmaids showed up day before my wedding to my house and had cut her hair from shoulder length to a pixie cut. I hated it. You know what I said? Not a damn thing, because I asked her to stand up there with me, not her fucking hair. So even though it wasn't my preference on her, I understood that it was not my right to demand, or in this case chastise, her hairstyle, and it wasn't even important to my wedding. Shockingly, my husband and I still got married despite her haircut, and she and I are still close friends despite her obvious disrespect, per second in case it isn't totally obvious. Also amazingly, when I look back at those pictures, I don't feel anger at all the things that went wrong, and there were a few hiccups, though her hair is not something I'd consider in that category. Lol. I feel joy remembering a day surrounded and supported by friends and family, while I married the love of my life. This terrible bride, imagine caring more about the pictures and your vision than you do about your friend's health issues. NTA, on general principles. Women who think their dream wedding should allow them to run roughshod over other people, insist that party members or guests obey silly standards or pay exorbitant prices, Also they can have this perfect memory album art destroying the very meaning of the wedding ceremony. It isn't supposed to be about a series of perfect pictures or outspending someone else. It is supposed to be about celebrating the union of two people with their friends and family. This bride is not respecting you, and almost certainly no one else in the party, but they are not seeing it, because they are towing the line she laid down. Everyone supporting her in her me entitlement should be ashamed of themselves. Fight on. But jumping so quickly to legal action is not the sign of a good friend. After what the bride did, they were no longer friends after this. No one would stay friends with someone after something like this happened. Why do you think they would still be friends after Bridal pulled this crap? So, jumping to legal action was no big deal, but I'd have thought the first solution would be to compromise, or at least communicate that you're willing to wait for them to recover from the significant stress and expense of a wedding before they reimburse you. What nonsense is this? The bride isn't entitled to reimburse her when it is convenient for her. Is out of pocket $700. That is a lot of money most people don't have. Why does she need to wait around for the bride to be ready to pay? She doesn't. Also, I immediately sent her and her husband an invoice asking them to reimburse for the dresses and shoes, keeping in mind that one of the dresses is still in her possession even though I paid for it. Neither of them replied, and so I decided to take it to court. NTA at all. I actually snorted loudly at the part where she called herself graceful and accommodating, and suggested that you were disrespecting her for trying to cope as best you could with the terrible symptoms of illness, while still trying to keep up appearances for her bloody wedding. She could not possibly be less gracious, which BTW was the word she was looking for, accommodating, or even human. I wish you could sue her for emotional damages for being so unkind to you when you are already struggling with health issues. I'm so sorry, Op. Absolutely NTA. Your Bridal friend is the and her message to you was completely BS. I just love this part. While I sympathize with your health concerns, I'm not willing to compromise my vision to accommodate you. She absolutely doesn't sympathize with your health issues. She's full of it. And this after she said I've been very accommodating and graceful, but I can't allow you to disrespect me. I like the person who suggested you serve her with papers at the church. I might get downvoted, but in my opinion, your friend, Bridal is most definitely an A, and her tone attitude is terrible. Even trying to give her the benefit of the doubt that she's dealing with pre-wedding nerves and stress, it's still unacceptable. But you say that you immediately sent her an invoice. I think that further escalation to small claims could have potentially been avoided had you attempted to contact your friend and tried to work towards reimbursement first. Even something as simple as I respect your decision and will not participate as a bridesmaid. However, I incurred some expenses for alterations and clothing. In the event that I am not able to return these items, I'd like to be reimbursed. In my opinion, jumping straight to sending them an invoice and subsequently initiating a lawsuit right before someone's wedding does make you an A as well. I mean NTA, she's a massive A and should pay you the money. She won't because she's a massive entitled A, but I am guessing you don't have any sort of written contract. Depending on the verbal contract laws where you are, I suppose you can argue that expenses were incurred on the agreement that you were in the bridal party. On the other hand, if she's been as much of a control freak Bridal as you say, she might be able to evidence that a reasonable person would know that in this wedding, changing physical appearance would be seen as breach of expectations vc. By making themselves unsuitable for the bridal party, it's going to be a hell of a thing to argue successfully in court. Good luck in small claims court. Bet Bridal won't even show up, and you'll get default judgment. Though still collecting will be tough. This friend is unbelievable. It's all a show to her. Have to wonder how long she and new hubby will last married, since sounds like she dreamed up scenery and a cast instead of a marriage in friends family. The depths of her shallowness about your health issue hopefully shows you this lost friendship is not worth worrying over. NTA. Not too hard, TBH. I've seen worse cases on court. She agreed to pays is because she was going to be in the bridal party. The bride breached the contract by removing her from the wedding. Did she cut her hair? Yes, but it was for health reasons, not for petty non-reasons. It'd be like getting mad at someone for losing half a head of hair after cancer treatments. Hair loss wasn't Op's fault, but she tried her best to fix it. Bride didn't even offer an alternative of a wig. She went full nuclear, get out, option. So she breached, and Op had costs associated that she wouldn't have otherwise had. Bride still has possession of at least one dress, which makes it potentially theft. Not too hard to prove the bride made a decision that's going to wind up costing her. She's entitled to have her wedding her way, but that means that she has to pay for the expenses that someone else put in that she's booted out.